Okay. Hey, good morning. Finally feeling better. Sister Kate here, Sister Kate Show Farm Mountain. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to crew members and channel members and everyone who bought my book. I appreciate it. I hope it blesses you in some way. It's definitely about homesteading. If you have any curiosities, it's 10 years of little tips and hints from a neo pioneer. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you all about there's a thing going around in the memes and the different social media, the news, and so on, people's comments about the world is turning upside down. PragerU is giving me a lot of advertisements, and so is the Daily Wire with Jordan Peterson. And I think they're doing that because they can tell there's such a trend to the left in the media, not necessarily the people, although that's happening too. And so I was thinking about that this morning because you young folks, you do not remember a time when social media and the news weren't biased. The American public has been getting inundated with this disinformation and hysteria news reporting for years now. Really, when we had the turn of the century and the turn of the millennia, that's when all this nonsense really got ramped up. And so I wanted to let you know, as an older person with silver in my hair, that America was not always like that. For a long time, but for a period, especially during World War II and afterwards, the news was supposed to be, and people who reported it were unbiased. And so you got, for any story in the news, both sides of the story. You had reporters who did research. Journalists had integrity. And so they would be almost like detectives, and they would go after witnesses and they would check facts into what they were covering. Give an example, just food. They would talk to chefs, they would talk to producers of food, they would talk to farmers, they would talk to the distributors, they would talk to people who owned grocery stores. They would get a whole picture of the story, not just one person. And many of the people reporting the news nowadays aren't reporters anymore, they're just actors. And they present a point of view of the people who own the network. So let's pretend it's a ABC News or an NBC News. Their editors and their managers have a point of view, and right now it's liberal. Everyone who was born, say, in the 40s and 50s and were teenagers in the 60s and got involved in the hippie stuff, I'm going to move because those ducks are making a lot of noise. They're just going to follow me though, aren't they? All right, I'll let them out and then I'll sit myself down. The hippie movement of the 60s really was where liberalism was full blown in our country, and it was aimed at our young people because that's the way you capture a society, a culture, is to get their young people, because their young people are full of energy and they have no experience. They have no rubric by which to judge what they're being told except what their families told them. And because the hippie movement was so hard to argue with, free love, let's drop out, let's do drugs, let's experiment with reality, it was so enticing, many of our youth followed that model. And so what has happened is they are now in positions of power and they are furthering that agenda. This is true, folks. This is not made up. If you go back and look at just movies made about America, you get Grapes of Wrath, you get all our war movies, very patriotic, very pro-America. We had actors who were actually in the military, who went and fought in the war, like Henry Fonda and Ronald Reagan and many others. They had actual military experience. Clint Eastwood's generation. And then movies started to get more and more and more weird, spacey, liberal, and started also portraying the very left-wing models of women who didn't need husbands, women who became career women, who could do it all. Um, Mary Tyler Moore's series, TV show, where she's a divorced or a single woman in, I forget, Minnesota, Michigan, working in a TV show, and um, she's a reporter or something in that show. Um, You're Gonna Make It After All is the theme song. That is a quintessential picture of women power. Women had power. Your power was in your home, raising your children and giving your children values. When you separate the woman from the man, she no longer has guidance, protection, support. She has to look at the world through her eyes, which is not the same way as a man looks at the world. A man knows men, and he knows the threat that a man is to a woman. I have seen videos of a woman treating her son like a girl, giving him a purse, putting lipstick on him, going to the bank. You can probably see it if you Google it. She's treating him like a girl. Well, if you treat a human like a girl, you're going to confuse him. He's going to be standing out or in a society where men are going to be looking at him like, there's something wrong with you. And the same thing with women looking at the mother going, there's something wrong with you, training your son as a girl. And there's even historical precedents for this. King Louis XIV of France had a brother, and the mother treated him like a girl, and he grew up resentful and angry and gay. So not only that, I've been in women's bathrooms where a woman will come in, and they're usually overweight women, and they're usually with purple hair and piercings, bring a boy in there dressed as a girl, holding the purse, or going into the stall with her. A 5-year-old boy should not be going into the bathroom with his mother now. And imagine what he is seeing while he's in there. It's more than he's ready to understand and grasp, and yet she is inculcating him with this weird mindset that's going to make him an angry trans guy later. It's just the way things are. And this is a sign of our times, that things are wrong. Now, the Bible talks about that. The Bible talks about when evil is good and good is evil, or called good and good called evil. That is what's happening right now, and it causes a lot of confusion, but it also causes a lot of anger for people who know what the right way things should be going. And if you don't believe in the Bible, naturally, you can't have two male geese together as a couple and them have eggs and hatch up chicks and raise them. It doesn't work that way. The way biology works on this planet is you have to have a male and a female to create an offspring, and usually each one of them, the male and female, have a very important job in the survival of that offspring, including sometimes the female carrying the offspring around inside her body for a while, or the male. Female, I think it was crocodiles or whales, like watch over their babies for years. You've got to have both things, because this world is not just a friendly place. There are things that challenge you and you need to overcome. Things like the weather, things like feeding yourself, things like diseases, and it's way better with a partner. And that's another thing I can give you as my experience. I've been married to my husband for over 30 years. And there are times when we don't get along, sure. But we kept our relationship the most important thing. And we have endured lots of things, like illnesses, like medical operations, like separations. And yet our commitment to being together as a couple has kept us together as a couple. And so we have 30 plus years of experience, and what I'm trying to do, even though it sounds like I'm berating you or arguing with you, is I'm trying to give you that wisdom so that you can weather the storms yourself. All right, I'm going to get out in this beautiful day, and I'm going to enjoy it. Thank you for watching the video. As always, you guys are awesome. You are the best commenters, subscribers, followers on YouTube, and I appreciate every single one of you all. All right, bless you all. Shalom.